Hello, everyone, and welcome to my review for Superman versus the Elite, the animated movie, which is based off of the comic What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, in the American Way by Joe Kelly. This movie is written by Joe Kelly, and this is more of an opportunity for Joe to expand upon his initial story, because his initial story is, of course, one issue of Action Comics, but this is now an animated movie. He was given more of a longer, runtime to do stuff with. And it's great. I have read the comic as well. Of course I have, because this is me we're talking about. And I very much preferred the movie. Because, again, the movie allowed Joe to expand upon what he was initially trying to say in the first one. So, what is the basic plot of the movie? The basic plot is very simple, that a new superpowered team of heroes called the Elite has now arrived on the scene, and they are a lot more brutal in their handling of villains. They now kill their villains, they tell criminals of the world that, we're not going to hold back against you. And the public adores it. And a lot of people say that, Superman was good for his time, but, we moved on from him. And, it's very much speaking to that era of superheroes. We had the more darker, grounded superheroes at the time against Superman. And this whole story is pretty much telling you that no, Superman, you need him. You need Superman. You need the hope that he brings. That's needed. Superman is never going to be outdated. And even when people think that Superman has, the time for Superman has passed you by, he's always still going to be there. And he'll always be there when you come back around. And it's such a good movie. Like, I adore this movie so much. I remember watching it for the first time. I was super happy about it, and it is great. Seeing Superman meet the Elite for the first time, and how, he initially tries to work with them, but then he starts to see their more violent tendencies show up. Eventually the Elite get tired, with Superman always, speaking about, letting criminals go and finding a more peaceful solution, so they start doing their own thing. There is the battle with Atomic Skull, which ends with the Elite performing a public execution. And then the big battle at the end, where the Elite fight Superman, appear to beat him, and then Superman freaking goes ultra on their ass. And it is great. You've probably seen the scene anyway of Superman fighting the Elite on YouTube anyway, because it was there like years ago, with people going how much powerful a pre-Crisis Superman is. Not a pre-Crisis, a pre-New 52 Superman is, right? Post-Crisis Superman, pre-New 52 Superman, how powerful he is. So, I freaking adore this, man. I'm sorry, I just really, really love this movie. I think it helps as well that the cast is so great. So George Newbern is Clark Kent as Superman in this, so that's great. Just hearing Superman from Justice League is here. Polly Perrette as Lois Lane is great. I really like her as Lois. She has like the fiery, aspect that we would expect from Lois. But then she can play Lois in the soft moments when she's concerned for Clark about his battle with the Elite. Very nice. Manchester Black, played by Robin Atkin Downes. Great. Fantastic. He really comes across of more of like a cocky kind of we're doing the right thing, punk type guy. He's really good at that. There's the other members, Cole Cast, who can't really say much about the other members of the team, other than the Hat is always drunk. Menagerie Pam is always horny for Superman. And then Cole Cast is just kind of there at the end of the day. Yeah, we get to hear Jimmy Olsen for a tiny bit, who is played by the same actor as Superman the Animated Series. That makes me happy. I'm happy about that. A big plot of this is a war between Bialia and, oh my god, how do I pronounce his name? Pokolistani? Pokolistani. I think I got it. So that's a big part of this, is there's a war going on and we need to find a way to solve the war. The Elite solve the war by killing the entire war room of each of the goddamn countries. And Superman's like, you can't just do that. That's not how this works. You can't just do something like that. This entire thing is what we need, especially in, modern era, where, again, a lot of people say that, Superman, he needs to get with the times, he needs to be dark, he needs to be brooding, he essentially needs to be Zack Snyder Superman. And this whole thing is telling you no, because that's not what Superman is. Superman is about showing the best in us. Superman is about being that hopeful beacon that we can aspire to be. If you can't relate to Superman, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to aspire to be more like him. And that's what this whole movie is, showing how even when people tell Superman, your ideals, they're outdated, man. It's like, no, they're not. No, they're not. Superman just needs to show you the ugliness of, what the elite stand for, and show you that his way is not outdated. He even says, I'm not stupid. I know there's bad in the world. I know not everyone's good, but I at least have to try to do my best to make the world a better place at the end of the day. It's great. This is Superman, right? This is a movie that very much shows you the core essence of Superman being that hopeful hero. Another thing I really love is the art style that they went with. It's super, cartoony, right? I mean, yeah, it's a cartoon, but I mean, it's over-exaggerated. Like, Superman towers over people, and he's, the size of a truck, right? They do stuff like that. Everyone's designs are cartoony, which is great. I would, again, love, it's seeing something like this, which adapts a beloved comic book story. And not only does it faithfully, it expands upon it. And again, this is Joe Kelly expanding on his own work, so any divergence he does from the original source material is absolutely fine, because he's allowed to. It's his own story. But it's seeing stuff like this, I'm like, God, can I not just get an animated series just faithfully adapting the biggest storylines in DC history? I'd love a Batman series that just goes through his history chronologically and adapts the big stuff. Right, Year One gets adapted, The Long Halloween gets adapted, Venom gets adapted, The Man Who Laughs gets adapted, all that stuff. Nightfall gets an entire season dedicated to himself. No Man's Land gets an entire season dedicated to himself. Stuff like Legacy, Under the Red Hood, which has a fantastic movie, by the way. Death in the Family gets a proper adaptation. Then we get stuff like Batgirl Year One, Nightwing Year One, Robin Year One. Tim Drake's full ascension, his whole training with everyone, stuff like that. It's I just want a show like that. No BS, just adapt the material, right? And a Superman one would be similar to that. Superman's a lot less straightforward than Batman, because a lot of stuff has to be taken with Superman villains, because Superman comics are very weird initially, until I think post-Crisis, where they kind of made it a lot more easier to digest. A lot of the early Superman stuff, freaking weird, dude. But something like that would just be come on, man. I would love something like that, And watching this makes me sad, because I remember how great DC's animated movies were, and just how great animated superhero stuff was in general around this time. Not just DC, because around this time, DC was going great with their animated movies. We had stuff like this. We had stuff like Under the Red Hood, The Dark Knight Returns Part 1, Part 2. We had TV shows like Batman Brave and the Bold, Beware the Batman. We're going on Green Lantern, the animated series. Teen Titans was not too far behind us at this point. Young Justice. We had great stuff like that. And then in Marvel, you had stuff like Spectacular Spider-Man, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. You had stuff like Wolverine and the X-Men. The Ultimate Avengers movies. Avengers, Heroes of Tomorrow, which is the future stuff, where it's the Avengers Kids. We had really good animated stuff. We really did. And then what happened? Well, Disney bought Marvel, so then we got stuck with stuff like Avengers Assemble, and Guardians of the Galaxy, and Ultimate Spider-Man. And then DC decided, we need to catch up to Marvel, and their output very much dipped. And then eventually DC got infected, as did everyone. With the mind virus, so that ruined their stuff, and now their animated stuff is, stuff like Harley Quinn and My Adventures with Superman, which is not good. So it just makes me realize, we really had it good back then, didn't we? They were just making movies. They're just making movies to be this will be fun. Let's make a fun movie, or let's tell a good story on a TV show. And I'm like, great. God, I miss those days. We might come back to them one day, but it's gonna be a while. But there we go, Superman vs. the Elite. This is like a great movie, again, to show you the true ideals of who Superman is. Where even in the darkest of times, even when the whole world says that Superman's outdated, he's never gonna abandon people. He'll always be there to show them the light. It's fantastic. I love this movie. I rewatch it multiple times. It's a great movie. It's not long either. It's only like an hour 12 or something. Oh, and also the score is done by Robert J. Crowell, who every time he does a DC product, he has the same Superman theme, and I love that he is consistent with that. Because he did the score for this, for Superman Doomsday, which was before this, and then he eventually did the score for the Injustice movie, which that movie sucks ass. But at the very least, Superman's theme in that movie is the exact same one as this one, and the exact same one as Doomsday. So it's just a little thing that he's always consistent with the Superman theme. Very fun. Superman vs. the Elite for me gets a solid 8 out of 10. Like, it's just a solid movie all the way through, and I adore it. I definitely think you should all go and watch it, especially if you're someone who thinks again that Superman is outdated. He is not. He is not. So that's it. That's gonna do it for me. Thank you all so much for listening. I'll see you guys next time.